Today, we're talking about the glowing previews for Dragon Age Veilguard, Palworld's response to Nintendo's newly filed lawsuit, and we debate which video game characters would make the best roommates. Plus, did the Switch 2 designs just leak all over the internet? Stick around to find out. Welcome, friends, to this week's episode of Good Playing With You, the weekly gaming podcast. I'm Dan Whitehill, and as always, I'm joined by our good playing good buddies, Matt Lord.
Hey, how's it going?
And Matt Molding.
Hey now.
Before we jump into the headlines, let's check in with my Mario Party loving pair of Matts to find out what everyone's been playing this week. Lord?
Oh, did you have to remind us about Mario Party?
Yes, I did.
You should have. It was a great reminder.
Great reminder.
You're only saying that because you won.
Yeah.
Of course.
Things. I keep replaying this in my head. Malding, it was so funny. You just said, things are coming up. Dodo.
Birdo. Things are coming up, Birdo.
Birdo. Oh my gosh. I was laughing. So I was like, wait, Malding is kicking our ass over here. I was in last place as Waluigi. I'm rolling ones over and over again. For anybody who doesn't know, we all got together over the weekend and played.
I think everyone doesn't know.
Oh,
I think we're the only ones that do know.
Yes. Every single person doesn't know. So we're kind of breaking the news here.
Yeah.
And man, I got to tell you, the Mario Party gods did not like me. They wanted me to never play again.
No.
And
Mario Party sometimes just decides it doesn't like one person, and then it just tortures them with low rolls and the red spaces. And that I was totally Lord the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Really bad for you, actually.
I was just getting smoked. Waluigi is cursed. I don't think I'm going to be playing as him again.
No.
But totally good time. And Malding got the dub. Yeah.
I did.
Much. Yeah.
It was only through my incredible skill. So
It was.
It wasn't luck or anything.
It was.
Well,
wild.
I'd just like to remind you guys that this is only practice because we have the old jamboree coming up next month for my birthday.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah,
Get me back in there. It can only go up for me, to be honest. Like
That is true.
Like I'm ready to play again. Trust me, boys.
Yeah.
Did you get a star? That
I
game?
got two.
Oh, you got two.
Were you the one I stole it from? Or no?
Yes.
That's
So
it.
it actually might have just been one.
Yeah.
Because it was ultimately, I think it was the randomizer, and it got me. Yes.
And then again, Mario Party just picks someone's and shits on them, and that was you.
wild. And I was like, wow, I'm very much in last place. So, but it was fun. I mean, and then I couldn't believe how long it took. It was like a full hour. It was a whole hour match. I didn't know they lasted like that. It was wild. Good times though. I'm ready to play again over your birthday for sure. I'll be looking forward to that. Otherwise, I've been playing Counter-Strike 2 on the Steam Deck. So 60 frames per second against these sweats with 400 frames per second playing in comp. My other buddy has a Steam Deck. And so I just wanted to be on the same level as him. And we've been just playing competitive Counter-Strike on our Steam Decks. Keyboard and mouse setup. Just hilarious. It's so fun. And the Steam Deck just blows me away every time we jump on and get to do stuff like that. So that's been a fun little experiment. And then last night I stayed up a little late playing some Fortnite with friend of the pod, Andrew. We got a dub and we got a taste of all the new Iron Man content that is in the game. Dan, have you seen that yet?
I've read about it. It came out this week, right?
Yeah, it was again, like we mentioned last week, if you don't have the Iron Man boots, you don't have the Iron Man gauntlets, you're going to be in a bad way at the end of the game. You're going to get shredded by these dudes that have the Marvel gear, especially them. It's really OP. But it's been, I think it's pretty cool. We talked about it last night too. I think there definitely needs to be like something in the game to maybe counter some of that stuff that they've put in that's Marvel. I know it's just like meta building, but I don't think it would hurt the game to have some counters, because it's like
the disparity is too big between the guns and all of the Marvel stuff. Agreed.
100%. And but that's it for me. It's been a week.
Molding.
Nice. All the talk that I've done the last few weeks about the Nemesis system in Shadow of Mordor, I decided to put in Shadow of War, which is the Middle Earth game, and I played through that again. I played some of the DLC, which I hadn't played before, where you play as this elf who's Galadriel's assistant, or whatever you want to say, her assistant, her follower. She plays a little bit differently than the main guy, who I've blanked on what his name is right now, Tamriel or something like that. Super fun. I again highly recommend those games. Incredibly fun. Shadow of War is on Game Pass. And then lots of Overwatch 2. I did try some of the Castlevania Dominus collection. It's not my bag. But if you like those DS games, you'll love these, because it looks fantastic on the big screen, and these games play really well. I just don't like a side-scrolling platformer. That's just, I don't find that very fun, and I die a lot, and I feel like I'm a bad game player because of it. So that makes me angry, and then not want.
But there's a rewind feature in them. Have you been using that?
There is, that I did not use. So no, so maybe I'll take another. Maybe I'll take another swing at it then with the rewind system. Is it like the Nintendo Mini, like how they have it?
100%.
I think you said something about it,
I use it all
I
the
just
time.
ignored it. Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
No, Malding's
Well,
a purist, and he
maybe I have to
loves
try that.
things being extremely difficult. I don't see him using the rewind
absolutely
feature.
Yeah, I absolutely do. It's like, if I die, that's my fault. I don't need the hands of fate to save me from it. But yeah, they're fun games for that style of game. Absolutely try it out.
Agreed.
That's it. Dan, what about you?
Nice. Well, I finally caved and I got myself Astrobot. And gentlemen, I'm telling you, we do have a contender here for Game of the Year. Now, I don't think platformers get the love that they and respect they so rightfully deserve, so I don't expect it to win. In fact, I'll be happy if it's nominated. But I'm telling you, Astrobot is amazing. I'm part of the. I've been converted.
Oh my god, you sound like you drank the Kool-Aid.
I slurped it up. I was doing shots of the Kool-Aid and everything. Here's the thing: if you guys did you play at all the Astro's Playroom that came free with PlayStation 5?
I
No.
did.
Okay, wait. Malding, why didn't you? What's wrong with you?
I
Malding,
didn't even think about playing it. It didn't even cross my mind to play it.
You should play it.
All right.
And then, Lord,
as
what
soon
did you
as you
think
play
about
Baldur's Gate 3, I'll play it.
Lord, what did you think about Astro's Playroom?
I liked it. I thought it was cool. I liked the hub world. I like the PlayStation references all over the place, and it was a great way to introduce the PS5. But in my mind, and this is where I'm hung up on the Astrobot, it was still just an old tech demo, so it's tough to get that out of my head when it comes to this game.
You know what? And I gotta agree. That was the one thing holding it back for me, is that I felt like, oh wow, this is more of the same, and it's great. Don't get me wrong. If you've played that demo and you loved it, this is exactly that. But it's more worlds, it's more hidden stuff, and it's got secret exits and secret worlds to find, and it's much bigger and much more expanded. I'm loving the hell out of it, and I'm so happy I bought it. This is a very me game. This is a very Dan game. But if you're not a platform lover, this might not be for you, because it doesn't do much different than the free game that came out. But I love it, and I think it's fantastic. I'm at like maybe 160 of the bots that are hidden in the world, and there's like, I think, a total of 300. But I'm going through and I'm collecting every single one, and I'm playing every level repeatedly to get all of the secrets in it. I'm not missing anything. Like, I'm obsessive about this, and I'm loving every second.
You're gonna platinum it, you think?
Oh, definitely, 100%. It's a great time.
Nice. Well, I want to hear the final review once you're all done and finished up with that thing.
Definitely will.
Nice.
But speaking of games that might not be as fun or are in a little trouble themselves, we got to talk about Palworld and Nintendo, boys. They have an interesting little fight going on. So let's jump into the headlines of the week. Oh, wow. Oh, Palworld. You were fun, but I'm sorry to hear about the little troubles you got going on here. But let's just say we did kind of call it. And before we jump into the story, I do want to play a little audio that we recorded from our podcast about 7 months ago. I think either way, what's going to happen here is there will be a lawsuit, period. You don't sell 8 million copies of a video game and rightfully and wrongly get a lawsuit. You just do. Like, when people see money and a success, they file a lawsuit. That's just how it happens, whether they have a case or not. Well, gentlemen. Unfortunately for Palworld, it sounds like my words did come true, and I totally called it. Even though our audience told me they didn't think I was right, and they told me to go basically eat turds. 7 months later, unfortunately, Nintendo did file that lawsuit that we were afraid was going to happen. Essentially, this comes from IGN article. Nintendo and the Pokemon Company officially suing Palworld developer over, quote, multiple patent infringements by Alex Stedman. He writes, "It's official. Nintendo, the Pokemon Company are taking legal action against Palworld's developer Pocketpair. The companies filed a lawsuit against the developer on Wednesday, September 18th, seeking an injunction against infringement and compensation for damages on the grounds that Palworld, a game developed and released by the defendant, infringes on multiple patent rights. Quote, Nintendo will continue to take the necessary actions against any infringement of its intellectual property rights, including the Nintendo brand itself, to protect the intellectual properties it has worked hard to establish over the years, end quote, Nintendo's statement reads. And then, separate from that, there was a response from Pocketpair. They write, regarding the lawsuit, yesterday a lawsuit was filed against our company for patent infringement. We have received notice of this lawsuit and will begin the appropriate legal proceedings and investigations into the claims of patent infringement. At this moment, we are unaware of specific patents we are accused of infringing upon, and we have not been notified of such details. Pocketpair is a small indie game company based in Tokyo. Our goal as a company has always been to create fun games. We will continue to pursue this goal because we know that our games bring joy to millions of gamers around the world. Palworld was a surprise success this year, both for gamers and for us. We are blown away by the amazing response to the game and have been working hard to make it even better for our fans. We will continue improving Palworld and strive to create a game that our fans can be proud of. It is truly unfortunate that we will be forced to allocate significant time to matters unrelated to the game development due to this lawsuit. However, we will do our utmost for our fans and ensure that indie game developers are not hindered or discouraged from pursuing their creative ideas. We apologize to our fans and supporters for any worry or discomfort this news has caused. As always, thank you for your continued support of Palworld and Pocketpair. So, gentlemen, big words there, big money on the line. What are your thoughts?
So Palworld people, they never looked at the photos of what a Pokemon looked like and then what their own thing looked like. I like that little bit where they're like, we don't know what they're talking about. Whoa. Yeah, you do. Yeah, I mean, it was obvious to everyone. I don't even play Pokemon, and it's obvious to everyone that it was a Pokemon ripoff, and they just flew too close to the sun.
Oh, no, right on. And I mean, Nintendo's been building this case brick by brick. Like, it's been a whole, like, it's been a year since that game release? Yeah. Almost a year.
7 months.
7 months. Yeah. So it's like they're now dropping this. So, Nintendo's been hard at work building a case, making sure that thing is airtight, and they're going to bring it to Pocketpair and say, like, I'm wondering, gents, like, are they going to be asking for a sum of money? Or are they going to be asking for this game to be shut down, reworked, shut down?
That's a great question. We don't know. They could ask for both of those. They could stop sales of this thing. They could ask for some sort of like cut of the revenue. We don't know what's going to happen. Reading a little bit deeper, it looks like the U.S. has a pretty open policy with creativity and would side probably with them under the basis of fair use. However, knowing that, Nintendo's lawyers did not file this lawsuit in the U.S. and filed it in Japan, where their laws are different. I don't know them as well. but it's very telling that where they're taking this case and what they want to do with it. So we'll watch it play out, I think. But to be honest with you, where this goes, they're going to settle out of court. They're going to make that announcement within the next month, and then we don't hear anything else about it.
Yeah.
That's my guess, because I don't think that they don't have enough case to say that they ripped off Pokemon. Yes, the characters look extremely similar, but they did add guns and all of the leveling and all of the sort of stuff that makes it a completely different game. And I think they're kind of alluding to that in their response, where they're saying that they are this independent game developer and they're going to fight these big guys because they're fighting for the freedom of creativity that they kind of put forth. So I'm curious to see how it plays out, but my guess is I don't see Nintendo winning this one personally, and I think it gets settled out of court to make it go away quickly and quietly. What do you guys think? How will this end?
I think out of court makes the most sense. A lot of, just it. Yeah, it'd be like a money changing hands, NDAs being signed, and then we don't hear anything more. It's very interesting that we're, hearing about it right now. And it's interesting we'll definitely know what happens if the game gets taken offline. I'm sure we'll get we'll definitely have an understanding of what's going on there. So we'll probably get a statement then. I think that's going to be like the one way we'll get more info out of this. And unless Pocketpair really did their homework and they knew that they could somehow wiggle around whatever Nintendo might be cooking up, because they had to have known.
Yeah,
Nintendo
they had to be preparing for this to come.
They had to have. So maybe they have some legal game plan that we don't really know about, because right now I'm with Malding. It's like, it seems like a slam dunk for Nintendo to bring it into court, and they're just, it's going to be just, yeah.
So Malding, you think that Nintendo wins? Is that what you would say?
Nintendo absolutely wins. You're totally wrong. Yes, Nintendo will win. They will win, and they will get a sum of money. Palworld will not be taken off shelves or taken. You'll still be able to purchase it. They'll just get a cut of each sale, is what I'm thinking. Although, of course, we are not Japanese copyright lawyers, so we don't know how any of that works. My question is, didn't the Palworld people say, and I can't remember the name of the production company or the publisher that created it. Pocketpair, thank you. Didn't they say that they used some AI in creating some of those characters, or am I making that up? I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. I could have sworn it was some point.
I feel like I remember hearing something like that. So
yeah. Anyway. My question would be how funny would it be if they found out that the AI pulled the Pokemon copyright stuff, and then it becomes an AI lawsuit more than a Pocketpair lawsuit. I think that sounds interesting, but Nintendo's going to win. You can't have a plumber with a mustache shoot a gun and have it call it a brand new game, right? You're still using a plumber with a mustache. That sounds like a really fun game. So I think, there's no way Palworld makes it out unscathed.
Yeah, and in my head, I'm thinking about how Nintendo just went off after Vim's Lair not long ago, pulling games that are 20 plus years old, like the Pokemon games and the Mario games, off of an emulator site. I know that's a little bit different, but they're coming out and making stuff happen. They're shutting stuff down. So
they are extremely litigious.
Yes, they're extremely litigious. So I think
it'll definitely be interesting to see that one play out. So moving on, let's talk about some games that haven't even released yet. Dragon Age: The Veilguard. I don't know if you gentlemen read the previews today, but they are glowing. Just to sum it up, basically every outlet got about maybe 6 to 7 hours of hands-on time with this game. A lot of footage online, a lot of writing online, but a lot of excitement online about this game too. Now, I know I was a little initially concerned about the look of it, but it sounds from what everyone's doing with the hands-on that they're having a great time. So, I'm definitely hyped and looking forward to it. Some of the reactions that I wanted to highlight include people saying, quote, "This is BioWare at its most confident." People saying, "It reminds me of Mass Effect 1 and 2. IGN called it the best character creator they've ever seen. They're noting that it feels big and meaty like a Dragon Age game should, that you can sink your teeth into, that there's a lot of stories, a lot of lore, and you can learn the backstories of your characters, making them more three-dimensional like you would expect from a Dragon Age game. And they also note that it's not exactly open world, that they have like these levels that you've got your hub that you hang out with your companions, but then there are story beats that take place in these semi-open linear sort of things, that the combat is very action focused, and it has been compared to God of War, which is a little bit surprising, but they're all saying that there's a lot more of this RPG and numbers and classes and specializations that we aren't seeing underneath the hood, that makes it a lot more complex and a lot more fun. So it's not just, a simple action game. So based on all of these reactions and all the stuff that came out today, what is your guys' hype level for this game?
I mean, hearing that it's a more linear experience instead of just a wandering open world, I'm okay with that. I feel like I've had a total fill of open world games, and something that is just kind of point A to B, tell me a good story, let me totally gear up my character. That's awesome. However, after hearing all the previews, I still can't unsee what I saw with the early previews, where we weren't seeing the type of stuff we would expect from a Dragon Age. I know we got a little bit of flack for that, but I still think I need to get my hands on this game. And so my hype level is still kind of right in the middle until we get our hands and sink our teeth into it and see what's really going on.
Molding, your thoughts?
The only thing I can think of is maybe I'm romanticizing what the other ones look like, because this one just looks like a cartoon to me, and I can't shake it. I can't. And so I need to go back and just play the last one, play Inquisition, just to like refresh my memory, because maybe I'm just thinking it looked one way and it didn't. It still looks like a cartoon. It's still that gameplay does not look very fun to me. Yes, I'm gonna need to get my hands on it. I can only I trust people. They say that they're having fun and that they enjoy the gameplay, and there's just something about it that doesn't click for me. And normally this is the type of game that I would be all about. I would be prepared to buy it day one. I'm just a little gun shy on it. Like it's not. Oh, I'm really worried about it.
I can understand that for sure, but I think Dragon's Dogma 2 left such a hole in my heart, and in terms of depth, because it was so shallow with its companions and so shallow with its storyline. I'm craving a meaty game with meaty characters that I can learn and love and experience life with, and a big story that's
Baldur's
very epic.
Gate 3.
But that's not Baldur's Gate 3.
Fine.
So I am craving that that BioWare formula. When they do it well, it is like nothing else. And so I am craving that. So I am willing to overlook the graphics that I don't care for, and I'm going to be buying this one day one. You guys expressed a little concern. Are you in day one though still?
No day one for me.
Yeah, I think I'll let you take the reins on this one, Dan, and like see what you think. And I do want to make sure, like, because I mean, comparing it to Mass Effect 1 and 2, that's like some high praise. Like,
yeah,
let's be real.
Mass Effect 1's a little rough, but Mass Effect 2, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Mass Effect 1, but it is a rough game. Mass Effect 2, however, is
like the franchise. Like I probably should have said 3 in that.
Yeah. I mean those. Yeah. So I mean, if it is like that, and it's like going back to like those type of games and really tapping into the old formulas, then yeah. And if I hear you say that, Dan, I'll probably be day 2. Like,
maybe day 2.
Yeah, maybe day 2. And then I'll go get it, even though there probably won't be any physical copies anymore, because that seems to be the case. So I'll have to get, I guess, that one on digital.
Are you getting it digitally or physically, Dan?
If
day one.
Yeah. Digitally, for sure.
Oh, Dan.
I know. Game share. But moving on to games that have not been released but are definitely announced. EA had an investor event and talked a lot about their upcoming slate. Mulling, you had this article.
Yeah, this I pulled this from Kotaku from Zach Zwiesen. Sorry if I butchered your name. So on September 17th, EA held its annual Investor Day event. This is where the company shows off the future of what it's working on, discusses how it plans to expand its franchises, and tries to convince a lot of people with money that they are profitable and worth further investment. So there were some game announcements and some little bits of news that I'm going to go over here. The first off is The Sims 5 isn't happening, but the franchise isn't ending. EA isn't planning on making a Sims 5 anytime soon. Kate Gorman, EA's vice president and general manager of The Sims, told Variety that it's entering a new era for the franchise. She says, "We don't want to reset your progress. And so it's not about as much of what the numbers are in the games, but know that the future of the franchise looks more like keeping your progress, keeping things across titles, and really having an ongoing experience and not a start and stop experience between products." So, all right. So that's The Sims 4 in perpetuity, I guess.
I think
Do it.
yes, but what makes me concerned about that one is Inzoi. Have you guys seen the trailers for that? It's going to eat their lunch. It's incredible.
Oh.
Like, I'm not a huge Sims fan, but this one had me blown away. I believe it's a Korean game, and I know the name. I probably just butchered it, but they might say that they're fine with Sims 4 because they're making a lot of money on these DLC packs. The second that this Inzoi life game comes out, it's going to eat their lunch, and we'll touch about more on that game as it gets closer.
You'll think they'll change tune and be like, "Hey,
100.
we have a competitor. We gotta put Sims 5 out."
Exactly.
Right. I mean, Sims 4 has been out for it's got to be nearly 10 years now.
Oh,
so it's just been updating through DLCs that they're doing new things with it. Yeah, it's not the most fun game for me. It's not.
Yeah, I'm with you, Malding. It's not.
Yeah,
really
it's
my cup of tea there.
In more Sims news, the Sims movie is happening and Margot Robbie is involved. EA also confirmed a Sims movie is in the works. The game publisher is working with Amazon MGM and Barbie star Margot Robbie's production company, Lucky Chap. The movie will be directed and co-written by Loki Season 1 director Kate Herron. Do you think it's going to go the same as Minecraft? Like, I mean, come on. What this? How do you? I'm speechless.
Look, Margot
Why
Robbie
would you watch a Sims movie?
Yeah, I know, but Margot Robbie did Barbie. I think every brand in the world's going to be hurling their products at her. She is going to, she produced it and she oversaw so much of it that I think people trust her. They like her. And who knows, it'll be a hit, but it will be better than Minecraft because that's a very low bar.
Yeah, she's found her niche. Geez, she's going to be in all the toy movies now. Like,
she could.
This is interesting. So
she's not necessarily in it. Her production company. So she could be starring in it, but it's her production company that's involved with it. So we don't know yet if she's.
Depends on how much they pay her.
Exactly.
I'd be really surprised if she doesn't find her way into the movie. Like,
for sure.
It's kind of seems.
So Star Wars Jedi 3 is in active development and is the end of the series. The next entry in Respawn and Lucasfilm's award-winning Star Wars Jedi series is currently being developed. It will also be the end of the trilogy and the series. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with that. Like, do your thing, put out your 3, move on to something new. Like, don't beat a dead horse, is my opinion on that. What about you guys? Do you like those other games?
Love them, but love that it's ending because you do need to rethink and reinvent the wheel after 3 games in a series. And so Cal Kestis can't wait to play it for a 3rd time, but then I'm good.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him move into the TV shows, even though I don't watch the TV shows. I'd love to see him move into it because he's a great actor and I really like that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to play the first 2, to be honest, gents. I know.
They're good.
I've heard good stuff.
Really good. Really, really good. Really good.
No, and who knows? Maybe once the
Game Pass
comes up. Oh yeah, no, I should just play it on
2
Game
is
Pass.
on Game Pass for sure. I don't know about 1 still.
And that's a better one.
In Battlefield. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, that was it. I was just saying I need to play.
2 is the better one for sure.
Okay. Sweet.
In Battlefield news, it's confirmed that the next Battlefield game will ditch specialists and return to the classic class-based system found in Battlefield 3 and older games in the franchise. Anyone a Battlefield fan? I played some of them.
Oh yeah, Battlefield. Good stuff. Battlefield 4 is really kind of the peak. So if we get some more good Battlefield, I know they've gotten themselves into hot water with all the monetization that goes on in these games. So if they're still going on that track, I could see, and that's just, I don't know though. I feel like there's been a kind of a hesitancy towards monetization. So it could go back to being, in the glory days. I would love to see that.
Give me that environmental destruction. I
Yes.
love
Yeah,
that.
good call.
Made each one of those games that I played feel so cinematic. You're
Totally.
playing in a courtyard, and all of a sudden a skyscraper is falling down. Like it really made those games for me. I really
That's
enjoyed that part of it.
So good.
And then there is going to be a Skate reboot. The publisher confirmed that the Skate reboot is finally arriving in 2025 via early access. I never played Skate. I assume it's something similar to Tony Hawk. Never played it. Probably not my cup of tea, even though I love Tony Hawk. What about you guys? Ever played Skate?
Gents, you haven't played Skate?
No, I haven't. It's good. It's worth it.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Boys, it's like, it's so addicting. I mean, the way you use the analog sticks as your feet to do tricks, it's stellar. And to be quite honest with you, Skate 2, I still fire up all the time because that's on Game Pass. And when I'm bored and just want to have a little relaxing skate session, just throw that on and just play a little bit. It's really worth taking a look at because it's very satisfying. I don't think you even really need to be a hardcore skateboarder to be into it. And I know that they're going with more of a multiplayer aspect on this one. So I'm definitely hyped. I'm really excited to see what they do with this game. It could be really cool.
Nice. No, maybe I'll look it up. You say it's on Game Pass? The Skate 2 is?
Skate
maybe
2.
I'll look it up.
Mm-hmm. It's worth at least cruising around and see how it, because if you liked Tony Hawk, you can definitely get something out of these ones, but the controls are much more satisfying and it's a much more realistic feeling experience to do any tricks in the game.
It's a roller skating game, right? Roller skating? That's what you do?
Yeah, it's roller skating with the 4 wheels. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And that's it. That's the big news from the EA investor meeting.
Yeah,
nice.
Sounds like we got some cool stuff to look forward to.
Definitely. And speaking of looking forward to things, more Switch 2 rumors hit the internet this week. And normally I wouldn't bring it up, although this kind of has been bubbling for a little bit. And these rumors really hit a fever pitch this week when some CAD documents, some renders, some file types and information all leaked all over Reddit. So the one thing, before we jump into all the speculation, I will say one fact that we do know is that Nintendo president said earlier this year in an investor call that the next generation Nintendo Switch console would be announced, quote, within the fiscal year, giving the Japanese giant a deadline of March 31st, 2025. So that we know is fact. Everything else from this could be fiction, but it's very, very believable. So this article comes from IGN, also Wesley Yinpool, and it's entitled, Why Everyone's Talking About Nintendo Switch 2 Leaks Today. Nintendo Switch 2 talk is an overdrive after alleged prototype images and Nintendo's next-gen console emerged online. The unverified images, a mix of computer-aided design, CAD images, and printed circuit board, PCB, photos, are said to have originated from a Chinese website before making their way onto Reddit, which we assume that Nintendo would be using a Chinese factory to be pumping these things out if and when they go into production. They show a device similar to the existing Switch console, but with a larger screen and magnetic Joy-Cons, which tie into the previous reporting about the Switch 2. There's also a USB-C port at the top and bottom of the console. Nintendo has yet to comment on the images, and it's important to note that they remain unverified at this time, but may relate to an early design that has since changed significantly. But VGC was told by one source that they, quote, match what the company has told partners to expect from this design, end quote. On Reddit, they went a little bit further and they listed out the specs in the documents. They had to be translated, but they noted that there was a microphone on the device as well as an NFC reader for Amiibo. Then Kotaku published an article that said today's alleged leaks also included possible specs for the upcoming hardware, including 12 gigs of RAM and 250 gigabytes of internal storage. So those are lining up with previously rumored specs that appeared earlier this year. They also showed an 8-inch screen for the Switch 2, which is a little bit larger than what we currently have on the Switch. And they do go almost edge to edge. So this thing is looking a little bit bigger, a little bit thinner, and a lot more powerful. Some analysts have predicted that Nintendo's new console will cost around maybe $400 to $500 and sell games for $70. So that's essentially, all of the rumors that hit the internet this week. Did you guys see the documents? What are your thoughts on the photos? Do you believe it? Do you not? What are your thoughts?
Morning,
Lord. No, I don't really have an opinion on it. Like they're rumors, so I don't really.
No.
I don't know. I like my Switch. It's my least played console that I have. Probably, I think I play it less than my PlayStation. The games I borrowed from you, Dan, on Friday, I can't even play because my Pro controller won't charge. It ran out of charge, and now I can't charge it up for some reason. So I'm having issues with that. I don't know. Switch isn't something I get very excited about, but I probably would buy this as soon as possible because I don't want to be out. I don't want to be out of the cultural zeitgeist. So count me in. But the rumors, I don't really have any. I don't know. I don't have any thoughts on it, to be honest.
Yeah, like my take after looking at the images, instead of it being like the Switch 2, it reminds me more of the Switch Pro because they're really not altering the design by much. It looks very much still the same, at least from those CAD images we saw. And I think it is great that they're adding the additional USB-C port to the top. I think that is a very nice feature because charging from the bottom when you're trying to lay down and having the charge port like stab you in the stomach is super annoying. That was like a big issue for me. So this to me, that's really nice.
So wait, this is interesting. You're saying that you think these rumors could be true, but it's more of a PlayStation. I mean, like PlayStation Pro. It's like a Switch Pro, and it's not the Switch 2.
That well, it could be the Switch 2, but in my like just looking at the specs, it just seems like it's like the Switch Pro. Like it doesn't seem like they're totally reworking the wheel where it's a whole new sequel. It seems like they're adding some upgrades. I mean, if I'm correct, I think the Switch had 4 gigs of RAM in the first one, and 32 gigs of hard drive space. So that is that's a significant jump, but that's the thing. I don't know if it is even going to still, I know this is like this is apples to oranges, but like, is it going to even compete with the Steam Deck? Let's say, because that is such a powerful machine. Everybody loves that one right now. So, and Nintendo is off doing its completely own thing and making really handcrafted specialized games, which is awesome. But I don't know if we're seeing like a Switch 2, if you're catching my drift, it almost
so
like
you're thinking of it almost like an iPhone next generation. Like it's a next generation of Switch. It's not like a reinventing of the phone.
Yes, that is exactly how I feel after seeing this. And that's awesome. But I really do think they're going to stay with the cartridges. And I think they're going to support the Switch and the Switch 2 for however long they go. And I think they stick with this formula for a while since it's really, really working for Nintendo.
Well, the same could have been said for the Wii, and the Wii U flopped. So, do you think that this, could be like if this is real, will it be successful?
Well, I guess I hadn't even thought of that. That is a good question. There's potentially, if they're not going to be like making specialized games for this one, it could be one of those things where people don't see the benefit to getting a little bit of a larger screen, a little bit faster, RAM speeds. I don't know. Like, what do you think? Do you think that's fair to say? Do you think you're going to be hyped for it and get it? I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence now.
For me, it's about price. I definitely will get it. I think when it is announced, it will get its own direct. And that's one thing that a lot of people have been, like, rumors online have been like, Nintendo for the last 7 years of the Nintendo Switch's life have had a direct in September. We have not had a direct this September. So people are losing their shit. And they're saying, like, it could be one of two things. One, it's coming next week and it's going to be focused on all of their fall games, like Mario and Luigi's Brothership. Maybe we look at the next Metroid, something like that. And it's just going to be their fall focused games. And two, it says, no, it could be the actual announcement of the next Switch, which would have its own direct, no other games, unless they're going to profile at some point the launch lineup, because that needs to happen. And we know that the announcement has to come, by March. So looking at their history, yes, it's very plausible it could happen. But as a business, you might want to focus on selling your software for Christmas and then announce your console in the new year. That just makes it a bit smarter for me. But I'm hoping something happens next week and then we get to know more. I hope for surprise. I don't know anything, but just history tells us September and we're running out of time. So I'm hoping for a surprise next week, to be honest with you.
That would be awesome. Honestly, I mean, I'm just trying to think.
But we have like Xbox next week doing their Tokyo Game Show broadcast on Thursday. So it's like, what's Nintendo? Maybe Nintendo will do something for Tokyo. I don't know. I don't know.
We'll have to see. I'm excited.
I don't know.
Well, it's exciting. It's exciting because I do think I'm ready for a better device. I'm ready. Seeing the Steam Deck, I want a more mature device that is a little more modern. With 12 gigs of RAM, you can put these current generation games from third parties onto this system. So they are beefing it up enough, even though 16 or 32 would be better. But, they are beefing it enough that they would make themselves a player in the game. So that's why I kind of think that this could be real, especially looking at the photos. But again, we won't know until they actually announce something.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I hope they do, because I want to see it and I want to end the speculation. That's the big one for me.
I agree. And when they launch, I hope they have a good one. But speaking of games that have had a rough period recently, Malding, you had a story about Marvel versus Capcom.
Oh yeah, so I picked this out because I, of course, am a huge Marvel vs. Capcom fan, but they had a little bit of issues this week with their release. This is from Games Radar, Ian Harris. I think it's probably just Ian Harris. So Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection launched with a few bumps and bruises. That's largely due to matchmaking goofs, but the more amusing story emerging is fighting game legend Justin Wong absolutely cleaning house on the multiplayer. So much so that fans have decreed that he is to blame for the game being refunded. The Marvel vs. Capcom collection doesn't support crossplay, so Wong has taken it as a personal challenge to top each and every platform leaderboard, a challenge he has since completed. That means players from the realms of PC, PlayStation, and Nintendo have all met Wong's fury. Another issue, and one that speaks to a larger problem, is that the matchmaking itself. The collection isn't short of players, but is struggling to put them into matches. Players report sitting around for hours for a game that sometimes means that you get incidents in which Wong, a 7-time EVO champion in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, is getting pitted against a bronze player, and that's just cruelty. So it's just funny that this guy is a master at this game and is just decimating the online leaderboards, and people are refunding the game because they don't want to play against him. one guy on Twitter said that Wong did this Iron Man move, and he was exaggerating, of course, but he said he had enough time to go start dinner because the move by the time the move finished, he was dead and dinner was ready. So it's just funny that one guy dominating it and making people want to refund the game. I haven't bought the game yet. Still one of my favorite games I've ever played. I was going to wait for it to come to Xbox, but it's not even coming to Xbox until next year. So I don't know how much longer I can wait. And I think I may have to get it on PlayStation. But I don't play online because I'm not that good. So I won't have to worry about coming up against Wong.
That's what I was gonna say. You better watch out. Wong's out there, and he's hungry for dubs. And
he's got my number. He's got my Wong number.
Yes.
I'm just saying, like, it just reminded me. I'm like, where's the skill-based matchmaking in this game? Because it looks like that's out the window, and he's just beating up on people. That is so like to getting. I kind of understand though, like with fighting games, it's a different story. If you get beat up so bad, I kind of feel like returning the game is justified.
Well, some of these games, there's such a difference between my level of play and an expert level of play where you can't even get a hit in. Like you just go, you have no chance at all. At least in Call of Duty, I have a chance to get a kill maybe when I'm playing online, but not these fighting games when you're playing against people at such high level. Yeah, you don't stand a chance. And that's not fun.
No, not fun at all.
No.
That's miserable.
But those games are fun, and I look forward to playing them.
I agree, and I look forward to hearing you tell stories about getting your ass beat by Wong.
Yes, of course.
All right, moving on. Let's jump into the listener emails of the week. The first topic, I believe, was coming from you, Lord, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So we obviously have the Switch coming in some capacity. I know we just kind of weighed in on some speculation, but the system will be in our hands sooner than later. So, I was thinking, what dream features do we want to see on the Switch 2? Because we haven't seen all the features yet, and I know you guys have some takes and I have my takes. So Dan, why don't you share yours first?
Well, way to put a man on the spot. I think for me, definitely being able to play real games on the Switch would be a huge plus. So I'm talking, I want 4K, I want 60 frames, which looking at the specs, there's no way. So I can give that up. But still, I want something at least close. I want them to try, I love the PlayStation's speaker on their controller. So I would love to have speakers on my Wiimotes. And I'm sure that Nintendo can think of a million fun little mini games and things I could do with the audio that would be really fun. And the last thing I really want out of my Nintendo is looking at these CAD designs and everything. It sure looks nice and all, but it's more of the same. And Nintendo is famous for their gimmicks. Where's the 3D? Where is the dual screen? Where is the tablet that came with the Wii U? Okay, that bombed, but I had a great time with it. You all didn't buy it, but I did, and I had a great time with it. If this Nintendo Switch 2 is the real deal, great. I'll get it. But I'll be a little bit disappointed because Nintendo is famous for their outside of the box thinking, and that's what I really want. I want a Nintendo gimmick, and I want it to be different than what we have now, and I want it to be something that no one else has done.
No, that's
I know what the gimmick is. I know what it's going to be. And I didn't know it until you guys were talking about the specs, but the fact that there's a microphone on it. And I think that there's going to be some voice recognition. I think that there's going to be some AI involved. And I think you're going to be able to talk to it. That is my guess. So I think what I talked about with Skyrim having the Kinect connection with the Kinect commands, I think there's going to be something like that for the Switch too. And I'm all about that. I
No
think being
way.
able to talk to it. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah,
AI is too new
absolutely.
and too unpredictable. The next thing you know, there's going to be a story about how some kid got told to make a nuclear bomb and was given instructions from this thing. Nintendo is a little too cautious and wants to protect their young audience. There's no way
I'm not
AI
saying
touches
it's
this
going to
thing.
have Chat GPT on it. I'm saying that the software that they're going to make is going to have AI capabilities that will allow you to talk to it, like a Nintendogs, where you say like, "Come here, buddy,"
Okay.
and he runs
Okay.
into the screen and that kind of stuff.
I
I
could
don't
definitely,
think
Right.
you're going to be able to do Chat GPT on it.
I could
Okay.
also see Nintendo making their own little AI sort of thing that is
Absolutely.
very, very pared down. That is maybe called like
Peach.
Peach. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so it'll just be that way. I could actually, that's some good stuff. I think that is
I know,
actually
I'm brilliant.
very, yeah, that was brilliant. And I do think that's very likely. I mean, that's very with the trend, but Nintendo's always doing crazy stuff. So you never know. Mine is very simple. I want them to redo the UI. I do not want it to be the same UI. That's one thing, but I really like, for the love of God, Nintendo, please allow us to get into for one thing, a party chat and maybe just a group in the system. So then you can go and play games, because playing games like Mario Kart with a friend or Splatoon is a complete nightmare, and it's a total crapshoot because you have to randomly queue and hope you get in the lobby together. It is not fun. And if we just had that extra little piece, the Switch would be so much better for that reason. That really holds me back a lot of the time when I want to play a Mario Kart or a Splatoon. And those games are so good multiplayer, you can't do it with your friends. So please, that's what we really need for the Switch too.
Well, one thing's for certain. I think we'll get an upgrade for the online pass because subscriptions. It's all about subscriptions this day. Everyone wants your money and they want it repeatedly. And so I'm thinking, okay, they stopped at what, 64? So are we getting GameCube? Are we getting Wii? Like, I think we're going to see bigger games come down the pipeline for this Nintendo's subscription service.
I'd like that for sure. And
Yeah,
it
like,
has to be backwards compatible, right?
Yeah,
There's no
has to
way that it won't be. Are we thinking?
it
Are
has
we
to be.
thinking
it
there's
has.
yeah, there
Has
has
to
to be.
be. Has to
Yeah.
be. And I mean, I wouldn't be mad. Like if they dropped GameCube games on that subscription,
Yeah.
I would be way much more inclined to jump on board.
We'll see. We will definitely see. But speaking of fun speculation, Molding, you had another topic for us.
Oh, yes. I think that it's fun to think about who we would like to have as the best, or what video game characters we think would be the best roommates. Because
I love
I
this
love living
question.
alone. And but if I had to share rent with a video game character, who do you think would be the best to share rent with? Let's go with you, Dan.
Okay, I've got a couple on here, so you're gonna have to bear with me. But you guys can jump in. But first and foremost, Yoshi. I freaking love Yoshi. He's so awesome. He's so
He's
happy.
gonna be shitting everywhere.
Well, that's what I say. He has to be housebroken. As long as Yoshi is housebroken, then I would be more than happy to cohabitate with that thing. It would be like having a really like big dog that you can ride around. Like who hasn't wanted to ride their dog? So this is like a dog that you can ride around and it will jump on things and you could like,
That's
he
so
would be
annoying. Why would you want to have that in your house? And he can't pay rent.
perfect. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so maybe the next one is better. So my next one is Batman. I mean, come on.
Ooh.
Batman. You just can't beat that because you've probably got some small crappy apartment or whatever. But he's Bruce Wayne, so he's going to have an underground layer underneath your apartment that's going to have like bats and computers and waterfalls and it's going to be totally awesome and he's going to have this amazing setup with all of these video games and the most amazing fastest Wi-Fi in the world because he's Bruce Wayne. You will be living in luxury, and that roommate would definitely be able to pay the rent. So I think it's definitely either Batman, or I had one other thought, and that was Astrobot, just because I've been playing that game.
Oh.
Who doesn't want a robot where they can just boss them around and be like, Astrobot, give me a beer? And then he would just be like, okay, Dan. And then he would go and do it and he'd do whatever I said. That's a perfect thing about a robot. I need a robot.
Well, and Bruce Wayne will be like the ultimate home security. So another bonus.
Does he come with Alfred?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have to have two? So that means you have two roommates now?
Yeah. But
Batman
Alfie
and
like
Alfred?
stays in the basement while I get the whole like upper floor.
All right. No, I think that
And he
sounds
makes
good.
me breakfast, like,
True.
there's some really good crepes and a great omelet. The man's a chef. I'm telling you, I'm down.
And they know how to keep a secret. So
Yeah, exactly.
That's the main one.
Yeah.
You need your roommate to keep a secret.
Okay, what about
like-
you guys though?
Lord?
For me, I just had one simple answer, and that is Eve from Stellar Blade. And I think we could kind of guess why. She's very athletic, and she's, you don't have to worry a lot about her doing a ton of laundry. She's very
She's not wearing much.
she's not wearing much. And, she's also going to be very good at home security because she would kick your ass. That's for sure. So that is quite simply my.
And maybe she'll have like a ladies' night and invite her friends over, and over comes Quiet, like slinks in, and she's
There we
like,
go.
"Hey,
Well,
Matt, how you doing?"
He would 100% be invited. They would be friends. So yes,
Absolutely.
interesting.
Good friends.
That's
Good
a party.
friends.
That's a party. So how about you, Malding?
My first thought was Kirby, because I hate to vacuum, and he'd be really good at keeping the place clean, except he might actually eat everything. But when he eats it, he turns into it. So it's not like you lose it. He just adjusts it. So he can eat my couch, and then I could just sit on Kirby. So I think he'd be a really good roommate. And then my other one, I think Nathan Drake. One, I'm kind of with you, Matt, that he's hot and he's never home. So
There you go.
I mean, that's the best way. That's the best roommates are the ones that just aren't there.
I agree. For sure.
So true. 100% on that. Gosh, I love it. Good
Anyway,
calls.
I thought that was
Malding.
silly. I thought those were funny.
That was a great question. I had fun thinking about that, and you guys
Me
had some
too.
great answers.
Gosh, nailed it.
Nailed it. On that note, we need to start wrapping things up, but please make sure you subscribe to our socials, and on YouTube, hit that like button too. And on behalf of the Good Playing With You crew, Matt Lord, Matt Moulding, and myself, Dan Whitehill, have a great weekend. And as always, good playing with you.
Good playing with you.
Good playing with you.